Here are 15 tips and tricks to get the most out of your battery on your Galaxy Watch 6, 5 and 4 in 2024. Tip number 1 of many battery saving tips: embrace watch sleep tracking. Whilst using your Galaxy Watch as a sleep tracker does consume additional battery life, it can, rather ironically, help in the long run. Sleep tracking features monitor light and deep sleep phases, allowing you to optimize your sleep schedule for better rest and potentially a boost in overall battery life. Why and how, you might ask? Well, the more you use this feature, the less likely you are to charge your watch every night, which will actually help safeguard your battery and increase its overall longevity. This is because we're less tempted to put it on charge every night, and overcharging can harm your battery over time. Tip number 2 may seem a little bit obvious for some or not for others. Samsung is constantly releasing new software updates for the Galaxy Watch 6, 5 and 4 that can improve your battery life. Make sure you're always up to date on the latest software to get the best possible battery performance at any given time. You can check whether or not you have this update by swiping down from the top of your screen, clicking the little cog icon to go into your settings, and scrolling down until you see software update. At the top, it will give you an option to download and install it if there is an update available, and whilst you're there, you might as well enable auto updates, which will automatically keep your smartwatch up to date whilst you're sleeping. Tip number 1, don't hate me for this, but dim the display. The display is one of the biggest battery drains on any smartwatch, and the Galaxy Watch 6, 5 and 4 are certainly no exceptions. Turn down the brightness to the lowest level that you can comfortably see, or just simply enable auto brightness, which will adjust the brightness based on the ambient light inside or outside, and it does a pretty good job of looking after your battery life. You can get to your brightness setting by swiping down from the top and clicking the little sun icon. You can enable auto brightness by going to settings, display, auto brightness. Tip number 4 might be a little bit hard to hear for some, but I'm going to hit you with a cold, hard truth. No one cares about your smartwatch, and even on max brightness, not many people will actually see it, including yourself when your hand's by your side. So please, please, please do turn off that always on display option. It's a cool feature, don't get me wrong, it lets you see the time at a quick glance, but it also takes a massive chunk out of your battery life. If you can live without it, turn it off. You can still weight the display by tapping on it or flicking your wrist. If you want to turn this off now, you can get to the setting by going to your settings again, heading to display, and just under auto brightness settings is your always on display option. You'll also find your raise wrist to wake option there as well if you want to play with that. Battery saving tip number 5, reduce notifications. The more notifications you receive, the more your watch has to work to display them. This can drain your battery life rather quickly. Turn off notifications for apps you don't need to see on your wrist, or limit them to priority apps. One way of doing this is going to your settings, notification, and here you can see a plethora of options to play with. And there's also a button to manage your notifications on your smartphone, which by the way is way easier than doing it on a tiny screen. Number 6, turn off your GPS when not in use. GPS is another big battery drain. If you're not using it for your workouts or navigation, do turn it off. You can usually enable location services for apps that need it, like Google Maps for example, without having to keep GPS on all of the time. To turn the GPS off quickly though, swipe down to access your quick panel settings, and then it should be there by default. If it's not, swipe to the very end, click the little plus icon, and add the GPS panel there. Pressing this button will toggle your GPS on or off, and it might also be worth adding the NFC button too and turning that off and on as and when you need it. Disclaimer, using every single one of the tips in this video will give you up to 40 days of battery life. However, you will lose almost all function of your smartwatch, and at that point there really is no point in having one. So to be very, very clear, take what you need from this video. Certainly don't enable or disable every single setting I speak about. Use all these tips to your preferences and your lifestyle. Ironically though, for my next tip, if you really are in a pinch, you can put your Galaxy Watch 6, 5 and 4 I believe into watch only mode. This mode turns off all smart features and only displays the time. It's not very exciting, but it will give you a few extra days at the very least of battery, and up to 40 days if you are on a full charge. Now, why on earth would you want to use this feature? Well, if your watch is on 15% for example, and it's quite clearly not going to get you through the rest of the day, it's much better to have a watch that tells at least the time than a completely dead device strapped to your arm, in my opinion. You can get to this setting by going to the little cog at the top again, going to your battery settings, and at the bottom bottom, you'll see watch only. It'll give you an estimate of how much battery life you're going to get out of it when you enable this feature. Moving on, just like on your phone, apps can run in the background on your Galaxy Watch 6, 5 and 4, even after you close them. So close your background apps. This can drain the battery. To close background apps, swipe up from the bottom of your screen to open the app drawer, tap this little icon and it will show you all of your running apps. You can swipe up individually to choose the ones you want to close, or simply click close all, saving you from wasting precious battery life. Bonus tip, if you go to your settings and scroll to battery, click on the part that tells you how much battery you have left. It will show you exactly which apps are using battery and how much they are using. Next tip, the Galaxy Watch 6, 5 and 4 all have built-in battery optimization features that can help you identify and disable apps that are draining the most battery automatically. To access this feature, open the settings tab, then tap on battery and click power saving. It will tell you exactly how much battery it reckons you're going to save by enabling this feature, and as a general rule of thumb, it'll give you around 12 hours of extra battery. Worth noting, you can also add this to your quick panel by swiping down from the top, clicking the battery icon, and if you don't see it, swipe to the end, click add, and then find the symbol there. Tip number 10 is a super obvious one, but I'm going to try and help out a little bit more than just stating the obvious, so do bear with me for the bonus tip. If you're on the go and you don't have access to a charger, a portable charger can be a lifesaver, but let's be honest, none of us want to carry around a huge brick. So there are many small portable chargers available that can give your Galaxy Watch 6, 5 and 4 a quick boost on the go, and I've popped some credit card size ones in the description. But for my bonus tip, if you are using a fairly recent Samsung Galaxy phone, and there's a pretty good chance you are if you own a Galaxy Watch, you can use the power sharing tool. So if you want to give your watch a little boost on the go, you can share some of your phone's battery, as after all, it also uses wireless charging. Everyone's phone is different, but on mine, I enabled this setting by adding it to the quick panel, tapping it, then popping my watch on top of the phone to charge. So long as your battery is over 30% on your phone, you'll be able to share your phone's charge with your smartwatch. Tip number 11-ish, disable raise to wake. This feature wakes the display whenever you lift your wrist. While convenient, it can use unnecessary battery life. If you don't rely on gestures much, consider disabling it and waking the display manually with a tap on the screen or by pressing the side button. If you were upset about turning your always on display option off though, this is a pretty good option to keep on to balance the scales. If you do, however, want to get to this setting, head over to your settings, display, and toggle raise wrist to wake. You'll also see the touchscreen to wake option too if you want to experiment with that. Next tip may seem like a simple one, but for the less technically adept, limiting your Bluetooth functions can go a very long way. Connecting to additional devices like headphones or speakers drains battery much faster. Only connect to Bluetooth when you really need it, and disconnect when it's not in use. To turn Bluetooth off, swipe down from the top and click the following symbol. Again, if for whatever reason you can't find this option, you can add it by swiping all the way over to the right and clicking the add button. Tip number 13, we have spoken about monitoring and viewing which apps are taking the most battery life up, but it might be useful to know that you can do all of this inside the Galaxy Wearable app on your phone. The Galaxy Wearable app lets you check which apps are draining the most battery, identifies culprits, and considers uninstalling rarely used apps on your behalf or limits their background activity. It's just a lot easier than fiddling around with all these settings on your smartwatch. Tip number 14-ish, black watch faces use fewer pixels to display the time, which can save on battery life. If you're looking for a new watch face, try one with a darker or completely black background to save on a bit of battery life. You can find a variety of these watch faces in various episodes of Watch Face Wars on my channel, and you can click in the top right hand corner now to go straight to one of those. For now though, I've been Alex, this has been Take It Easy, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.